Hello, my friends. It is so good to have you here with me today. Pull up a chair, find a comfortable spot, and let's just take a breath together. Now, imagine for a moment you are standing in the middle of a great city. The sun is warm on your face. Around you, thousands of people are walking, talking, laughing. And in front of you stands something so large, so powerful, that you must look up and up and up. It is made of stone. It has stood for almost 2,000 years. It has seen emperors and slaves, lions and gladiators, joy and sorrow. Today, we are going to walk together into the story of the Colosseum. We are going to discover why it was built, what happened inside its walls, and what it can still teach us today. So take my hand. Let us step back in time. Our story begins in the year 64 in the city of Rome. Rome was the most powerful city in the world. It ruled over millions of people. But in that year, something terrible happened. A great fire burned through the city. It burned for 6 days. Homes were destroyed. Temples fell. People lost everything. The emperor at that time was a man named Nero. Many people did not like Nero. Some said he started the fire himself. Others said he did nothing to stop it. After the fire, Nero took a large piece of land in the center of Rome. He built a huge palace there. He called it the Golden House. It had gardens, lakes, and rooms covered in gold. The people of Rome were angry. They were suffering, and Nero was building a palace for himself. But Nero did not rule for long. In the year 68, he died. After his death, Rome had a time of trouble. There were wars. There were different emperors. But finally, a new family came to power. They were called the Flavian family. The first emperor of this family was named Vespasian. Vespasian was a soldier. He was strong and practical. He wanted to show the people that he was different from Nero. He wanted to give something back to them. And so, he made a decision. He would take the land where Nero's palace stood, and he would build something for the people, something they could use, something they would never forget. But what could he build that would be big enough, strong enough, and exciting enough to make the people of Rome love him? In the year 72, the work began. Vespasian ordered his engineers and architects to design a great amphitheater. An amphitheater is a place where people gather to watch events. It is round or oval, with seats that go up and up in circles. The Romans had built amphitheaters before, but this one would be the largest in the world. Vespasian chose the land carefully. It was the same land where Nero's golden house had stood. He drained the lake. He cleared the gardens. He gave the land back to the people. The message was clear. Nero took from the people. Vespasian gave to the people. Thousands of workers came to build the amphitheater. There were architects, engineers, carpenters, and slaves. Yes, many of the workers were slaves. Some of them were Jewish prisoners captured after a war in Judea. They carried stones. They dug foundations. They worked in the heat and the cold. The building rose slowly, level by level. It was made of stone, concrete, and marble. The Romans were masters of concrete. They mixed volcanic ash with lime and water. This concrete was strong. It could hold great weight. It could last for centuries. The amphitheater had 4 levels. The outside was decorated with columns and arches. There were 80 entrances, so that thousands of people could enter and leave quickly. Inside, there were seats for more than 50,000 people. 50,000. Imagine that. It was like a small city. Vespasian did not live to see the amphitheater finished. He died in the year 79. But his son, Titus, continued the work. And in the year 80, the great amphitheater opened its doors for the first time. But what would happen inside those walls? What would the people see? The opening of the amphitheater was a huge event. The Emperor Titus wanted to celebrate. He wanted to show the power and the wealth of Rome. So he organized games. Not games like we play today. These were spectacles. They were shows of violence, skill, and survival. The games lasted for 100 days. 100 days! Every day, thousands of people came to watch. They sat in the seats according to their place in society. The emperor and the senators sat at the front, close to the action. The wealthy citizens sat in the middle levels. The poor people and the women sat at the top, far from the arena floor. But everyone could see. Everyone could hear. Everyone could feel the excitement. What did they watch? They watched many things. In the morning, there were animal hunts. Wild animals were brought from all over the empire. Lions from Africa, bears from the north, elephants and tigers and leopards. These animals were released into the arena, and trained hunters called venatores would fight them. Sometimes the animals fought each other. Sometimes they were simply killed for entertainment. It was cruel. It was bloody. But the people cheered. At midday, there were executions. Criminals were brought into the arena and killed in front of the crowd. Some were thrown to wild animals. Some were burned. Some were forced to fight without weapons. The Romans believed that public punishment was a warning. It showed what happened to those who broke the law. But in the afternoon came the main event. The gladiators. The gladiators were fighters. Some were slaves. Some were prisoners of war. Some were free men who chose to fight for money and glory. They were trained in special schools. They learned to use different weapons. Some fought with a sword and shield. Some fought with a net and trident. Some fought on horseback. The gladiators entered the arena, and the crowd went wild. The fight began. It was not always a fight to the death. Sometimes, if a gladiator fought bravely, the crowd would ask the emperor to let him live. The emperor would give a signal. Thumbs up meant life. Thumbs down meant death. The gladiators became heroes. People knew their names. Children played games pretending to be gladiators. Women fell in love with them. But their lives were hard, dangerous, and short. For more than 300 years, the amphitheater was the heart of Rome. It was more than just a place for games. It was a symbol. It showed the power of the emperor. It showed the strength of the empire. It brought people together, rich and poor, soldier and merchant, Roman and foreigner. They all sat together and shared the experience. The amphitheater had a name, but it was not called the Colosseum at first. People called it the Flavian Amphitheater, after the family that built it. But near the amphitheater stood a huge statue. It was a statue of the Emperor Nero, but after his death, it was changed to represent the sun god. The statue was called the Colossus. It was more than 30 meters tall. Over time, people began to call the amphitheater by the name of the statue. They called it the Colosseum, and that name stayed. The Colosseum was also a place of innovation. The Romans were engineers. They built tunnels and rooms under the arena floor. These were called the hypogeum. In these tunnels, they kept animals in cages. They stored weapons and props. They had elevators and trapdoors. During the games, animals and gladiators could suddenly appear in the arena, as if by magic. The crowd was amazed. The Colosseum even had a roof, called the velarium. It was a huge cloth awning that could be pulled across the top of the amphitheater to give shade. Sailors from the Roman Navy were in charge of moving it. Everything was organized. Everything was planned. But the glory of the Colosseum did not last forever. In the year 404, a Christian monk named Telemachus jumped into the arena during a gladiator fight. He tried to stop the violence. The crowd was angry. They killed him. But his death had an impact. The Emperor Honorius was a Christian. He banned gladiator fights. The games continued for a while, with animal hunts and other events. But slowly, the Colosseum began to fade. Rome itself was changing. The empire was weakening. Invaders came from the north. The city was attacked. The population fell. And the great amphitheater, once full of noise and life, became quiet. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the Colosseum stood alone. For centuries, it was abandoned. No one came to watch games, no one cheered. The stone walls were silent. Earthquakes damaged the structure. Parts of the outer wall collapsed. People began to take stones from the Colosseum to build their own houses and churches. The marble was stripped away and used in palaces. The iron clamps that held the stones together were pulled out and melted down. The Colosseum was being destroyed, piece by piece. But it did not disappear. Something about it remained. Maybe it was the size. Maybe it was the beauty. Maybe it was the memory of what it had been. In the Middle Ages, people began to see the Colosseum in a new way. Christians believed that many Christian martyrs had been killed there. They saw it as a sacred place, a place of suffering and sacrifice. This belief helped protect the Colosseum. In the 18th century, a pope declared that the Colosseum should be preserved in memory of the Christian martyrs. Work began to stabilize the structure. Supports were added. The collapsed sections were left as they were, but the rest was protected. Slowly, people from all over the world began to come to see the Colosseum. Writers wrote about it. Poets praised it. Artists painted it. It became a symbol not just of Rome, but of human achievement, creativity, and also cruelty. The Colosseum had survived wars, earthquakes, theft, and time, and it still stands today. Today, the Colosseum is one of the most famous buildings in the world. Millions of people visit it every year. They walk through the arches, they stand in the arena. They look up at the broken walls and imagine what it was like 2,000 years ago. They imagine the roar of the crowd, the smell of blood and sand, the flash of swords in the sunlight. The Colosseum is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is protected by law. Historians and archaeologists study it. Engineers work to preserve it. Technology helps us understand how it was built and how it was used. We can now see digital reconstructions that show the Colosseum as it looked in its glory. But the Colosseum is more than just a monument. It is a teacher. It teaches us about the Romans, about their engineering, their society, their values. It shows us their love of spectacle and their acceptance of violence. It reminds us that human beings are capable of building great things, but also of great cruelty. The Colosseum asks us questions. What does it mean to be civilized? What do we do for entertainment? How do we treat those who are different or weaker than us? These are not easy questions, but they are important. And standing in front of the Colosseum, we cannot avoid them. The stones do not speak, but they hold memory. They hold the voices of 50,000 people. They hold the footsteps of gladiators and emperors. They hold the hopes and fears of a civilization that once ruled the world. And now, my friends, as we come to the end of this journey, I want to share something with you. The Colosseum reminds us that nothing lasts forever. Empires rise and fall. Buildings crumble. But stories remain. And as long as we tell those stories, as long as we listen and learn, the past is never truly gone. You are here because you are learning English. And learning a language is not easy. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes courage. But every time you listen to a story like this one, you are doing more than learning words. You are connecting with history. You are traveling through time. You are opening your mind to new ideas and new worlds. That is the power of language. That is the power of story. I want to thank you for being here with me today. I want to thank you for listening, for imagining, for learning. This is what we do here at Storyline English. We tell stories that teach, that inspire, that help you grow. And I hope you will come back. I hope you will walk with me again into another time, another place, another story. If this story touched you, if it helped you, please leave a comment. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you felt. Tell me what story you would like to hear next. And if you are not subscribed yet, I invite you to join our community. Every week we travel together through history, through language, through life. You are not alone on this journey. We are walking together. So, take a deep breath, close your eyes for a moment, and know that the Colosseum still stands. And so do you. Thank you, my friends. Until next time.